Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday. And we're not in December, folks. Call it old age. We're in January. And today is the 3rd, looks like. So I thought today we would talk about how to accomplish anything that you really want to accomplish. And it's very easy to do. It's step goal driven, right? And you're saying, well, what do you mean?
My name is today I thought we'd talk about chainsaws.
And you're saying, well, what do you mean? Well, the tendency most people have when they look at a situation or a problem or something that they're trying to overcome, they look at the whole, right? And when you look at the whole, it tends to be daunting and overwhelming, and so the normal body response is going to be to put it off. Because first, you don't want to do it. And second, if you do want to do it, you're not sure how to do it. You're not sure where to start and where to end. And we could take that as simply a messy house, okay? Especially with kids. That compounds it, right? Because you're trying to watch those little monsters while you're trying to get the house cleaned up. And you're thinking, why? It's just going to get messed up again, right? But what I found when you approach something like that, if you break it down from most important to least important, okay? And when I say breaking it down, I mean taking parts. All right, so the kitchen floor needs to be swept. Write it down. The dishes in the sink need to be washed. Write it down on the next level. Laundry needs to be put in. Next one. Laundry needs to be folded out of the dryer. Next one. Bathroom needs to be cleaned. Well, the next one. And then the next one. And the next one that's on your list. Kids' toys have to be picked up and put back into the toy box. And what you're doing is you're breaking down that overwhelming, daunting task into more manageable pieces. I don't want you to feel like you have to complete that whole list that day. I want you to say, okay, now it's in more manageable pieces. I could probably, shouldn't take much to sweep the kitchen floor. So you go out and you start sweeping the kitchen floor. That takes you 3 or 4 minutes. You go back over to your list and you check box. Next is, there's dishes in the sink. Couple minutes, you got them washed, put away in the rack. Now you've accomplished 2 of the tasks that are broke down within the bigger picture, right? And that's how people get things accomplished. Is they take something that they want to do or is they should do and avoid it because they're looking at the whole instead of breaking it down into manageable pieces that is, for our mind and our body, is more doable than the original of everything is crammed together into one box, right? And that's how business works. When a person comes up with an idea for a business, they don't just, I'm going to be successful, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to... That might be their catchphrase to keep them going. But anybody that I know that has been successful has focused on, breaking it down into manageable pieces to get those pieces accomplished in the shortest amount of time, but not wavering or letting it go using less than. If that makes any sense. I know with Amos and his coils, he was not producing junk coils like a lot of the other businesses were. They were below par. And successful people don't do below par. I mean, some businesses do below par, but I don't deem them as successful. They're cutting corners. They're not doing business the way you should be doing. And that borders on, do we really look at that business and say that it's successful, that it's part of the community, it's employee driven? No, they're cutting corners. And they know they're cutting corners to save money. But if you put out a quality product or a quality service, you're going to attract people that want quality stuff. And most of the people that want quality stuff are willing to pay for it. If that makes any sense. You got to know where to start and track your accomplishments throughout the day. And when you take this daunting task or this endeavor, the list you make is not going to be, how do I accomplish all these in a day? Because it's just not that. It doesn't work that way. There's no way you can. But to take it from an idea to reality, if you're starting a business, and we'll talk small engine repair, okay? You are the catalyst. You are the one that says, I want to start a small engine repair business, but I'm not quite sure of where to start. And in actuality, you have already started, because you're trying to think about where to start. So where do you get good information on where to start? Through a business plan, through small business associations. Online, there's a lot of good information out there. I try to post as much as I can on this channel so it relates to what you're doing. But you started. Now, like Amos was saying, like 5% of people that start a business or try to start a business succeed. The other 95 give up. And a lot of times they give up, not because, they're not competent enough. It's they've looked at the daunting task as a whole and became overwhelmed and did what the body normally does when it sees something that overwhelms them, is they avoid it, okay? They decide that I'll just do what isn't so daunting, and that is working for somebody else, right? It's that they didn't want to put the time in. And what I can tell you in starting a business, you will put in a lot of time. If you're serious about starting a business, it takes time. And it takes time to have everything in place. And if you can, before jumping into that business, you need some experience in it, right? That's where I start first, is finding out whether it's something that I want to do for a long time. Or is it just something that's a passing phase that but you break it down into manageable pieces, and we'll take one chunk, and that is the business side of it when it comes to insurances, building permits, commercially zoned, name of your business, how are you going to set it up, incorporated, LLC, partner, sole proprietor. Those things all have to be done early on, okay? And if you follow my channel, and a lot of times my logic and my reasoning comes from real world experience, okay? And that is trying to figure out whether you want to do it on the side, whether it's part-time, full-time, where you're going to get your experience in that field. And what I recommend, and a lot of us came up this way into the small energy repair business, was we started on the working nights and weekends on stuff, for ourselves. And I remember as a kid working on my snowmobiles and stuff. You remember how you ride it for one day, fix it for 4 or 5? And even with the older cars, my first car I had was a Dodge Dart. And, back then you could work on these things, right? Nowadays you can't. But you had to have some mechanical aptitude, right? If not, you wanted to make sure you had a good friend that had good mechanical aptitude. Because if you didn't, you'd never get it fixed so you could run it again, right? But that's where most of us started, when it comes to the business that we end up going in the direction, is what did we do when we were younger that we enjoyed doing? And then kind of somewhat make it our job, but that's not to say that somebody that's never, looked at a chainsaw, weed eater, lawnmower, snowblower, can't figure it out now. And that's what I mean by before you make that big leap. I know a lot of people put the horse before the cart, and the horse before the cart is you get a business all set up, you get everything in place, and then you need to go out and borrow money, right? Because you probably haven't got a lot of money to start up. And you really don't want to take it from your savings or your 401k if you've already got one of those, because it's a risk. Everything is a risk, folks. There's nothing that is not a risk. There's some things that are less risky, but everything is a risk, okay? And that's why I say, before you pull the trigger on all this other crap, try doing it nights and weekends to see if it's something you enjoy doing. And the thing is, you got to be careful, because some things that you enjoy doing, you don't want to make it your job either, right? If you love to fish, becoming a charter captain may be the ideal thing, right? Taking people out fishing. But then you're not fishing. You're taking other people out fishing. Because you've created a business around catching fish, but you're not the guy catching the fish. You're just the guy driving the boat and putting the lures in the water now. You're not fishing. So it's got to be something that you enjoy doing and enjoy doing for other people. All right? And then take the money, the profits that you're making on doing it on the side, and just start bankrolling that so that you've got some money to put down when you decide to take that next step. And you may do this for a couple of years before you take that next step. But I would rather spend 2 years doing it and learning the trade and, watching videos. There's a number of YouTubers out there that are really good when it comes to how to fix stuff, And I'm going to try doing more of it just so that I'm starting to see, a lot of stuff that kind of says, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then don't do it that way, And that comes from time, experience, and wisdom. Because I already did it that way, guys. And it's not going to work. Is there a chance it might work for you? Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, if I can steer you in the right direction the first time and not have it cost you anything, I don't charge anything for my advice. All I ask is take what you can use and leave the rest. And when you listen to what I'm saying, I want you to take it and make it your own. Make it your own voice in your head telling you this is how the steps I have to follow. I don't want you to do things exactly the way I did it, I want you to take that information that you're hearing of certain steps to take and then taking it and putting it into your own situation in your life where you're at, whether you're a high school student, college student, or someone that's getting close to retirement. Each one of you is going to have a different view on how they want to approach it. And that's great. That makes us unique, right? But this video is about taking anything that you want to accomplish, breaking it down into manageable pieces, okay? And we can go back to having the housework done. And mom can be the manager and assign her son that's 11 to do the dishes and sweep the floor. Assign the daughter with folding the laundry and doing the bathroom. Assign the two little guys that are 3 and 5. You guys pick up your toys and put it back in the toolbox. That's managing people and getting even more stuff done on your table, okay? And there's going to be certain things in business that you approach, like I have, that it's going to be based on time or money, all right? If you don't have any money, then you're going to have to put the time in. But for me, I'm really not interested in learning and keeping up with payroll. So I hired that out. It cost me $1,400 a year. I don't like doing year-end taxes. I'll get all the stuff together, but I want someone that is out of the 12 months, spending 12 months, keeping track of anything new that's coming in that needs to be addressed when it comes to your business taxes. So I give all the information to my accountant that does my taxes, which is separate from the CPA that does my payroll. And he takes it and he files it for me, and $900 later, my business taxes are done. And I don't have to look over my shoulder because I'm not going to rely on anything that I got or brought in or went out. So time is equal to money. So if you have the money to pay someone, do your payroll, and have the money to pay somebody, if you're doing like if you've done your business as LLC and down to a sole proprietor, a lot of your regular CPAs can do it for you. Mine that does payroll could have. But I incorporated this business, So she doesn't keep up with the incorporated side, versus the LLC and down. And there are different rules, okay? And you need to do a little research before you decide on which one you want. So you have to decide, what do you want to do and what do you want to hire done when it comes to starting that business. I think that makes sense, right? Time is money. If you don't have no money, then you got to put time in to learn how to do that. If you got the money, you could pay somebody that already knows how to do that and get it knocked out in a hurry. And just like the mom, delegating jobs to the kids, you can do something similar when you're running a business, and that is delegating certain top tasks, jobs to individuals. You may hire somebody on that manages, payroll and keeps track of the taxes, pays the bills, deposits the money into the checking account, etc., etc. You may hire somebody for customer service, and that's it. That is the front of your business. You're going to hire maybe, another mechanic to help you in the business, or start out. Most people, if you're going to do it the way I'm talking, you're going to start out by yourself. You're doing all of it, okay? Then you're going to learn. And what I found in business is, most things are a learned behavior, okay? How to provide good customer service is something that you learn, okay? How to get better at things is something that you learn. Being a great mechanic is something that is learned. They didn't come out that way out of the womb of being a great mechanic. It had to be the direction and path they wanted to go to become it, and they put their time in, okay? And that's what I'm saying about, whether the mom with the kids or you with employees, you can delegate some of those tasks to the other people that are there with you to help you with your endeavor. Hopefully that makes sense. But with the video, it's trying to take tasks that are huge. And the normal body reaction and mind reaction is to shut down and avoid, because it's becoming too overwhelming. So my best advice is break it down into tasks that are manageable, within that task or that thing that you want to accomplish, and just checkbox it as you go. And you can get it as simple, But the more knowledge that you gain, the better you become in certain areas. So I hope that's helped you guys out today. Just try it. And it's anything that you have going on in your life right now that you are avoiding because you're looking at it at a whole instead of breaking it down into smaller, manageable tasks to do. All right, so on that note, girls, we'll see you tomorrow.